I still remember the last time I held him close, the warmth of his arms around me, and the way the world suddenly felt safe even in chaos. It was a hug that I didn't know would be our last. But life sometimes hides its cruelest truths behind the softest moments. And today, I want to share that story with you. A story that will stay in your heart long after you hear it. But before we begin, if you truly love heartfelt tales that touch the soul, please take a moment to hit subscribe, give this video a like, and share your thoughts in the comments because your support makes these stories come alive and reach more beautiful souls like you. They say you never forget your first love, but I think you never forget your last hug either. Mine was with James, the boy who had been my best friend since childhood, and the man who eventually stole my heart. We grew up in a small town in Ohio where everyone knew each other's names, and life was simple but meaningful. James was the kind of boy who always made people laugh, who carried hope in his eyes even on the darkest days, and who believed in dreams bigger than the town we were born in. And I was just the girl who believed in him more than anyone else ever could. From schoolyard games to late-night talks under the stars, he was always my constant. And maybe that's why the memory of our last hug burns in my heart like fire I cannot put out. Our story wasn't perfect, and maybe that's what made it so real. We had our share of arguments, misunderstandings, and times when life pulled us in opposite directions. But every time, without fail, we found our way back to each other with a simple hug. That was James's way of apologizing, of saying everything without words. He believed hugs had a language of their own, one only hearts could understand. And I agreed, because each time his arms wrapped around me, I felt safe, seen, and loved in a way no words could ever capture. But life is never just laughter and love. There came a day when James had to leave for a job opportunity in New York City. It was everything he ever dreamed of and everything I secretly feared. He was so full of excitement, so ready to chase his future, and I was stuck between pride and heartbreak. On the night before he left, we sat on my porch, watching the summer fireflies dance in the dark. He talked about skyscrapers and big city lights, while I tried to memorize the way his voice cracked with excitement. And when the time came to say goodbye, he pulled me into a hug so tight it felt like he was holding me for a lifetime. Do you know that feeling when you hold on to someone and pray the world stops spinning? That's what that hug was for me. His arms around me, his heartbeat racing against mine, and my tears silently soaking into his shirt. He whispered, "I'll come back, I promise. Just wait for me." And I believed him with all my heart because promises from James always felt like forever. But sometimes forever ends sooner than you think. He left the next morning, waving from the bus, his smile wide and full of hope. I stood there waving back, holding on to the echo of his hug like it was a shield against the loneliness I already felt. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and James and I kept in touch through calls and messages. He told me about the busy streets, the noise, the rush of the city that never sleeps. And I told him about home, about the quiet nights, and how every corner of our town still carried his laughter. But then one night, the phone rang with a call that shattered everything. There had been an accident. A car crash on a rainy New York street. My hands trembled as I listened, my heart refusing to believe, my soul screaming that this couldn't be true. But the truth was brutal. James was gone. Just like that, the boy who filled my life with love, the man who hugged me like I was his whole world, was no longer here. I don't remember how long I cried that night, but I do remember one thing. I pressed my arms around myself, as if trying to recreate that last hug. The last time he had held me, the last warmth he gave me, was now all I had to survive the emptiness. And here's the cruel irony. He never knew it was our last hug. He never knew that the promise he made to come back would remain unfulfilled. And I never knew that holding him tight that night was the last time I would ever feel whole. Even today, years later, I can still close my eyes and feel it. The weight of his arms, the smell of his cologne, the softness of his voice when he whispered goodbye without saying the word itself. And sometimes I wonder, do we ever really know when something will be the last? The last time you laugh together, the last time you talk for hours, the last time you hug? No, we never know. And maybe that's why each hug, each moment, each heartbeat matters more than we realize. I still walk by the lake where we once skipped stones. I still sit on the porch where he once told me his dreams. And sometimes, I still wait at the bus stop where he waved goodbye. Not because I expect him to return, but because those places hold pieces of him, of us, of the love that ended with the last hug. People tell me to move on, to forget, to start again, but they don't understand. Some stories never end. They just live in a different way inside you. So here's what I've learned, and maybe this is what you need to hear too. Never underestimate the power of a hug, because you never know if it's going to be your last one with someone you love. Hold your people close. Tell them what they mean to you. And never leave without one more hug. Because when the day comes that all you have left is a memory, that hug might just be the only thing strong enough to hold you together. And if you've ever had a last hug, if you've ever lost someone and wished for just one more embrace, you know exactly what I mean. That pain, that longing, that endless ache. But maybe, just maybe, love never truly ends if the memory of that hug still warms your heart.